If you follow that pattern, if you follow your nose, if you will see that your win rates go up. In fact, a survey of over 400 companies that I've worked with who have implemented this nose structure found that on average, win rates went up 38%. So if you'd like to win 38% more business without doing any additional work, start following your nose. Here's the basic outline for the executive summary. I recommend you start out with just 2 sentences to establish the context of this opportunity. And that doesn't mean starting out with, we would like to thank you for the, no. What's going on in their world? And then drill down into the actual needs or problems they have. Then state what the benefits will be from solving those, what's the outcome, and if you can, frame it as a value proposition. Recommend your solution, provide brief evidence, just a couple of key differentiators backed up by some proof, a reference point, a client name, an award you've won, and then close by asking for the business. But ask for the business by returning to the outcomes. We are committed to helping you reduce turnover in your sales force by the end of the year. And we have outlined an approach that will accomplish exactly that. We have provided this service for others. We are confident we can do it for you. We are ready to get started. Something like that where it sounds like, wow, yeah, these folks really know what they're doing and they are committed to doing it for us. That's it. That's all you need. So that's why a 2-page executive summary is very feasible. One of the things you might want to do is just check your executive summary to make sure it really is focused on the client. Ask yourself, what's the first thing we're talking about? If the first words are your name or your company's name, you probably blew it. The first words ought to be your client's name or your prospective client's name by focusing on them. Go through and count. How many times does our name show up and how many times does the client's name show up? There's no real set formula for this, but if you look through the executive summary and you find that it's mainly your name, that's not a good sign. My belief is if you're really client-focused, if you're talking about their needs, their outcomes, how they benefit, their name, and obviously I'm also including the pronouns, so refer to them as you and talk about we, their name's going to show up 2 to 3 times more frequently than yours does because it's about them. Then go through and look, ask yourself, have I described a product, and by that I mean even a commoditized solution, a canned description of what I'm going to do, or did I vary it to tie it back to the client's needs and outcomes? Challenge the jargon. Ask yourself, am I using language that this client is going to understand? Because you're an expert, you may have forgotten that other people don't understand the jargon that we use in our everyday course of business. You're better off being too clear and too direct than being too complicated. If it's too clear, there is no real negative consequence. If it's too complicated, they don't know what you're talking about and they won't want to go forward. Finally, ask yourself, have I told them the price they've got to pay, or have I shown them the value they will gain by going forward? Price is a negative. People tend to react badly if they have to pay a lot, even for great service. But value is a positive. When they're gaining a lot more than they pay, they feel better about it. Research done by Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky into the behavioral economics of everyday decision-making has shown that people overvalue what they've got to pay compared to what they gain, sometimes as much as 4 to 1. So we really have to try to quantify the value and show that it's far in excess of what we're asking in terms of fees. All right, well, let's talk a little bit about the solution. Fundamentally, our goal here is to make sure we're offering the right solution. They can see that it really will solve the problem. Show them that we've considered other options and that we've chosen the one that's right for them, that we're giving them the right solution out of a full range of potential solutions. And we want to do it in a way that makes it easy for them to say yes. Now, this is an area of the proposal where people often lapse into informative writing. They cut and paste from their brochure. They cut and paste from the website. They use vendor-provided content to describe the products they'll be installing. Informative writing doesn't work. So we've got to get rid of the information. Another mistake people make, and do it persuasively, obviously. Another mistake people make is that they are tempted to sell more than the customer actually asked for. The idea is if I throw everything in, they'll at least know that I do other things besides this specific narrow range of services that the RFP requests. This is not a good move because it comes across as self-serving. They didn't ask for that, so why are you putting it in there? And it also comes across suggesting you didn't pay attention. So keep the solution focused. The time to upsell or to cross-sell is after they've agreed to your initial proposal. Now they're kind of on a high. They're excited about working with you. Now they actually want to know what else you can do. But don't cram it into the proposal. A couple other mistakes, not linking your solution back to the actual problem, not showing that we're solving their problem or meeting their needs, and not giving them a complete solution. If you're, for example, modifying the way they do their billing, and there's going to be some software involved, doesn't that mean you've got to also provide some hardware? Doesn't it mean you've also got to develop some training? Let's make sure we're including the complete solution. Fundamentally, what it boils down to is just making it easy for the client to say yes. We want to give them simple steps. We want to give them go, no-go points. We want to give them service level guarantees or key performance indicators, which will make them feel confident that they're not going to waste their money or waste their time if they choose our solution. The basic structure of the solution in your proposal, don't go into the technical details. Instead, focus first on what the customer gets in terms of high-level functional capabilities. What are you enabling them to do that they couldn't do before? So we want to give them that high-level view of how much better things are going to be, not a technical description of some approach or some methodology or some set of products. Then explain how you're going to get them there. What's the process? What's the execution? And then finally, focus on the things that are different about your solution. What are the elements of your solution that separate it from others that are out there? So we want to emphasize the things that make ours a little better and which enable ours to offer more value. So I'm having trouble getting that part of the slide to come up. I don't know if you're seeing it or not. Yep, it popped on my screen. Hopefully you're seeing it as well. There must be a lot of traffic on the internet today. It's a little slow. All right. Here's an approach that might help you as you think about presenting your solution in detail. As I said, start off with a positioning statement that focuses on functional capabilities or giving them the ability to solve problems. Then a brief overview, just go into those execution and differentiator components. And then when you get into the actual details, talk about, instead of a feature, talk about a customer need. You indicated that you need the ability to file monthly reports directly from your ERP system. The solution component that we are recommending is, and you tell them what your solution includes that's going to solve that problem for them. The benefit to you will be one-click generation of the report you need. This will save you hours of work. For example, and here's the fourth step, prove it. For example, we implemented this at University of South Carolina, and they were able to, etc. So here's what you need. Here's what we're going to provide. Here's how it will benefit you, and here's proof it's going to work. that's a much more effective way to present your solution in the body of your proposal than simply a laundry list of features and capabilities. All right, last section, that's the answering the RFP question. Then we all know if you don't do that very well, it can definitely be a killer. You may get rejected because you're seen as being non-compliant. But what are we dealing with here? We're dealing with answers to questions that are often short. They're often looking for factual kinds of answers. Sometimes it's just simple stuff like, where's your headquarters? What year were you founded? Sometimes, though, it needs much more lengthy content. They may want you to describe how you do something, which products you provide, what your unique capabilities are. Sometimes in the Q&A section of an RFP, they may ask you for case studies, or for 3 references, or for a discussion of past performance on a similar project. Ultimately, it's vital for us to be as responsive as we can be, because this is where we get advanced to the final stage of consideration. They're going to score these, and the people that score the best are going to get down selected to the final 2 or 3. If you don't answer these clearly, or if you're using boilerplate answers, you're not going to get down selected. It's going to be seen as a weak response. You'll get minimum points, if you will.